never let you down, I'ma shine on sight. Keep your mind on your grind and off of mine's alright, right? Hard, I'm a ball on those squares. I float the $250,000 cars everywhere I go. I know in the lead it may seem me might be, but no matter what they doing, they don't do it like me.
You're listening to the Urban Sports Scene.
In a flash like that, recognize I'm back.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo!
That's for our fan on Twitter, LeVar. That's shout outs for you. Welcome to the Urban Sports Scene. I'm your host, Jeffrey Walters. Joined in the studio today by my man Ray Rogers, Will T,
What's up?
and Wally Akinzo. We got a special guest with us today, Coach Ronnie Watkins sitting over there, the new Proud Papa. Before we get started on this show this week, I want to take some time out to talk about a little bit of controversy that got stirred up a little bit last week with defensive lineman Darnell Dockett for the Arizona Cardinals. No, hopefully no words were taken or anything personal like that. We just here to have fun, enjoy ourselves. I mean, we go to work 9 to 5. We all enjoy sports, you know what I'm saying? Don't take what we're saying too serious. It's all fun here. But today we got a special edition. We want to talk about the NBA. We got the draft. Free agency is about to happen in 2 days on the 1st. A lot's going on. The day of LeBron it happens on Thursday. But before we get into the NBA special, we want to talk about a few things that's going on in sports right now. One thing is the World Cup. Really big, still big. Will T got on his World Cup T-shirt right now. He's loving it right now. You want me to kick the ball over to you, Will T?
Yeah, you can kick the ball over to me, man. I'm going to start it off. Heartbreaking loss for the U.S. this past weekend, Saturday. Other than that, there's been a lot of controversial calls. For the life of me, I can't understand why in soccer you wouldn't use the technological advance that you have, like the instant replay or goal technology. It goes a long way to help, especially for an event like this that only happens every 4 years and is so big nationally.
You know you still love soccer. Stop faking. But another thing that's been going on, one thing that we talked briefly about this a few weeks back, is when it first happened, was the LT incident. If you haven't heard, LT's been indicted in Rockland County, New York, for the charges dealing with as far as the rape and with the minor and the sexual stuff going on.
Basically, the girl said she told him she was, 18, right? Didn't she say that?
Yeah, something like
19.
She said, but she told him, even though she wasn't, she told him that. Also, I think both sides have admitted there wasn't sexual intercourse. It may have been oral sex, something. I don't know what exactly happened, but
He finger banged her?
I'm not saying all that, but I mean, I don't know exactly what happened there, but I don't think it was a rape. When the feds indict you, man, that's serious. They have like a 90% conviction rate, so LT got some things to be worried about.
I just want to know what's going to happen to his legacy. I want to see if they're going to discriminate against LT in terms of if he is not guilty, will there still be that guilty stigma on him?
Yeah, I mean, his legacy is already is what it is. I mean, he's been in trouble his whole career, even when he was in college to the Giants and after he retired. So his legacy is, hey, the man can't stay on the straight and narrow.
Will we see number 56 again on anybody else because of this? That's the thing I'm worried about.
Well, maybe not on the Giants, but I mean, I think you have to. We talk about his legacy. You're gonna always talk about. He pretty much has two legacies in this world. He has his legacy as far as how he acts off the field. He has his legacy on the field. As far as being on the field, you really can't take anything away from him. You could always argue that LT will go down as one of the best defensive players ever. I mean, you can make that argument for him.
Yeah, he's going to be like Doc Gooden, I think. Yeah. Doc Gooden is always praised for his baseball player. I mean, as a baseball player, but also noted that his past and his decisions weren't the best.
I mean, what he does outside of the football stadium, that's his business. Me personally, only people that know what happened with LT and the situation that he's in is the girl, him, and the pimp. So, I mean, you really can't jump too far as coming with a conclusion saying, oh, he's guilty for his past incidents. But let's jump on to another thing that's going on as far as a guy who's pretty much just gets a lot of attention when he doesn't even do anything wrong is Michael Vick. Ray, I know you're a big Falcons fan and a big Vick fan. I think this situation that's going on right now, it's not even a real situation. It's just pretty much, I think the police just want some attention.
Well, I mean, with him and LT, it's still poor judgment. To me, I know Vick is needing money right now, but you cannot have a big party like this after all that's gone on with you. You got to do something smaller, something in the house. And also, you do that in your hometown, knowing that your co-defendants could show up. I mean, only one of them came. It's a good thing all three of them didn't show up. He would have had big problems on his hands. I don't care if he was there or not. I think it needs to be a zero-tolerance policy on him from now on. the next thing he does, he needs to go out of there. To me, I mean, he needs to be fired from the NFL.
Go ahead, hop on there, Will. I know you want to say
it's a
something.
zero tolerance policy because he left your team, the Falcons, and he's on the Eagles now.
Nah, he's missed several years. He's not the same physically. There is no Michael Vick experience no more.
He's Michael.
When you're in jail, that's the Michael Vick experience. You know what I'm saying?
Michelle. I heard they was calling him Michelle. But go ahead, Will. I mean, you look like you wanted to time in on
that.
that.
Left hand in jail.
I'm pretty sure his right guy's strong too. But let's talk about it. Let's go ahead, Will. I know you want to say a few things.
Basically, I just think that one, he did show poor judgment by having a party at a club.
It's a party.
But it's a party. But on the other hand, you can't, if you're going to have a party at a club and you're charging admission, you can't regulate who can and who can't come in there. So his co-defendant, who was shot, he paid his $50. I believe that's how much they advertised it for on the flyer. He paid his $50 to get into the party. I don't think that's the smartest thing to do if you're going to snitch on someone to show up at their birthday party.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I just think that's poor judgment on him. I think that he snitched on Michael Vick, and I'm sure Michael Vick didn't do anything. You know, somebody got salty for it because they probably were loyal to Michael Vick, and they shot him. That's how I look at it.
But at the same time, Michael Vick wasn't there. Michael Vick wasn't even there.
I understand that, but
to be honest with you, it was just someone trying to sell tickets.
To me, that could happen anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It could happen anywhere.
In his house, and he showed up there or something on his property.
But you're not advertising that on Twitter. Michael Vick having a party at his house with flyers.
I'm just saying, like, he can throw a party.
That's not gonna happen. Is that gonna happen?
There's nothing wrong with throwing a party for yourself. It's your birthday.
At a big club, you asking for trouble. He asked for that. I don't care what nobody says. After all he's been through, I think he should avoid this type of stuff. Throw a party at your football camp. You're doing stuff positive.
He still has to live
living life.
I mean,
he's blessed to be back in the NFL.
That's true, but he still has to live life. I mean, if he threw a party, and that's all he did.
He did throw a party. The thing about the situation, it was just people threw a party and used his name as a headline to gain people to come. Michael Vick was not at the party. I don't even think Michael Vick even had too much interest even going. And it wasn't even really on his birthday. It was like days and days before his birthday. So pretty much, I mean, the situation at the club was pretty much promoted. Some promoters down there in Virginia was using his name to gain extra income. So, but speaking of clubs, Artest. I mean, I've had an Artest moment in the club. Have y'all?
No,
I haven't walked around with a jersey. I walked around with my tractor trailer jersey for Ray once, but I mean, when Artest in the club celebrating the world championship, I mean, he wore his jersey. He had his fingers taped up. I mean, what about that?
To me, it just is Ron Artest coming 360. What was it, 4 or 5 years ago after the brawl in Detroit? Just for people to see him in a new light, him being lighthearted, him giving a shout out to his shrink on the interview at the end of the championship, then him being at the podium with the interview with his family and everything, then shouting out Queensbridge. It brings a whole new light to Ron Artest, and it's done a lot for him in the public eye.
A whole new light. I think it just staples him being crazy. That's what it does.
I think he's the reason why you don't let some people talk on the mic. But you wanted to chime in on this over there, Ron?
No, I agree with what Wally said. It just shows that the man's not stable. He's basically crazy. For him to just go to a club after the game, champagne, sweat, and just party.
And then gave his jersey to Chris Brown.
Hey, I mean,
good job, Chris Brown, the Michael Jackson BET tribute.
I know
that was planned out, man.
With all that Chris Brown did with the whole Rihanna thing, that's the last person jersey you want on your wall is Ron Artest. You want somebody more positive on your wall, not Ron Artest, man. I think that's a bad influence.
All I can say, the BET Awards was helping light-skinned brothers come back, though. I mean, the Barge, T.I., I mean, they was everywhere, man. I was proud come Monday morning when I got on the train.
Yeah, there was a bunch of y'all.
I even had some little extra looks from some big lady, but, you know, I show the big girls love, too. But our last topic we want to get into is Mark Brunell filing for bankruptcy. How are you a current NFL player filing for bankruptcy? It's kind of... I can't really defend a current player who makes...
Same way an NBA player is filing for bankruptcy, like Eddie Curry. Things happen with financially. I mean, people don't make the best moves financially for themselves and their family.
Did he explain like why this could have occurred?
Yeah,
it was bad real estate deals.
Terrible investments. But you know what? I don't have too much sympathy for him. A friend of mine used to work for him, and he always bragged about how he's too old to be in the NFL, but why not take the check? He said, I'm not going to stop playing if they're not going to stop giving me money. He knew he wasn't going to play in New Orleans. He knew it. But yet he took the check.
And he got a world championship rings, and he pretty much gets sideline season tickets. I mean, who wouldn't